Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to...
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You're listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast, and this is episode 766. Coming to you from a houseboat in Otter Creek Cove on Lake Cumberland in Kentucky. I'm the Dr. Jason Triplett. This show, we're going to discuss the Pacers' upcoming Eastern Conference Finals series against the New York Knickerbockers. Joining me this week are two of our three analysts, bow to stern like buttered toast. First, from the starboard side, he's our in-house bartender mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles. It's John Bachelor Coalson.
Everything's coming up Coalson right now. I'm on a boat.
On a boat?
And bringing up the stern, it's our enforcer, John Harper.
Don't know if I like that.
Stern's the most important part of the boat. Before we start the show, just want to remind listeners that they can support the longest-running Pacers podcast by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables to support our show for as little as $1 a month.
Just a reminder, I mean, you're not getting Pacers coverage from a boat from any of these other podcasts out there.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Where are you, Mark Boyle? Not on a boat.
Not on a boat. Come on, sideline guys.
Picking up Paceroos. Although they might be on a boat. Maybe they just live on a boat.
Yeah, could be.
All right. We're here.
Yeah, we are.
It's the year 2000. The Pacers are playing the New York Knickerbockers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Wait a minute.
Time warp.
Okay, yeah, Pacers. What do you think, John?
I mean, there's no way I could have picked this, envisioned this, hoped for this at the beginning of the season, let alone the beginning of this playoff run, that we would somehow be back in time playing the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm very excited. I think we owe them one from last year, even though we won that series.
I think that's what's on their locker room billboard.
Yeah. I mean, that thing went 7. We didn't get enough credit because they were all injured. I want to go ahead and mop the floor with these guys and have no questions about whether we're the better team.
Just like we did with the Bucks, huh?
Yeah, which is what we did.
And the Cavs?
And the Cavs.
Yeah, the Bucks had some injuries.
Yeah, they did. And so did the Cavs.
The Cavs had injuries.
But it's that time of year. Everybody's got injuries.
Except us.
So what you're saying is we're never going to get out from under the shadow of the injury.
That's probably true.
Okay.
Unless we just
So we're just a small market team, and that's what it is.
How about we just beat New York when they have no injuries?
I mean, right now there are 3 small market teams left in play.
Okay, what was the stat that this is the first time in 20-some years that the Western Conference Finals hasn't been played in California or Texas?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Okay. That is incredible. So that's just LA because the Clippers have never gotten to
Golden State.
Golden State. Okay. I was like, yeah. And so you said 3 small market teams. We've got the Timberwolves, OKC playing out west, and Pacers, Knicks. This bodes poorly for the Pacers, right?
We are going up against the behemoth conspiracy theory of the NBA front office.
Yeah.
Who would love to have the New York Knickerbockers in a final series.
Yes.
The other thing that has me concerned in this series is time off. So the Pacers beat the Cavs in that very impressive Game 5 win a week ago. Yeah. Last Tuesday. So they had a full week of rest before they play tomorrow in New York. We were on a heater, I would say. We had a really good rhythm. Are you guys, rest versus rust is the eternal argument. How are you guys feeling on that front?
I think that with how well our coaching staff has prepared our guys this postseason, I am very confident that we are going to play well after we come out and play really badly.
So
and win game one.
Is this the we'll be correcting things at halftime? And
I think guys are just going to be rusty. We're going to miss a bunch of shots. We're in the Garden anyway.
Yep.
I guess I disagree a little bit. This team all year has played exceptionally well on 3 days or more of rest all season long, because we have a really good coaching staff that prepares our guys and guys that are really good at reading the scouting reports. I think we're going to be ready for these guys, and I also have all postseason been really impressed by how poised this team has seemed for how young they are. Miles Turner has not been afraid at all. Nembhard has never been afraid of anything in his entire life. There were some moments where I felt like maybe Halliburton early on in the Bucks series was, seemed like he wasn't ready, but I mean, he proved he's ready for the moment on all these game winners. So,
yep. The way that he played in that game 5 was just super impressive. He recognized that his team needed him to put on the Superman cape and do things, and he came out and hit 6 of 9 3-pointers in a 3/4 span, and I agree with you. The poise of this team is super impressive. That playoff season that they got last year, despite it being against fully injured squads, I think it taught them a lot. There were games in both of those series against the Bucks and the Knicks that they lost that they had no business losing, right? And I think they learned a lot of lessons from that. And in fact, the one game in this Cleveland series that they lost, game 3, when Cleveland came out and just stomped us in our own house, the way that they responded in game 4 obviously was
pitch perfect.
Doubled them up in the first half.
Sure, played a perfect game.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good. And I also liked you guys. Thank you for doing pods. I was very busy the last week or so didn't get to give my thoughts. But one thing I wanted to comment on was after that game 3 loss, I really love the way Carlisle handled that. I don't know if you saw in the presser afterwards, he took all the blame on himself. He said, look, we didn't have these guys prepared. We weren't ready. I'm going to go work with my staff, and we're going to get these guys ready to play in game 4 and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought it was a wonderful way to just take the heat off of his guys, especially as the microscope of the media gets more intense in the postseason.
On a young team.
On a young team, on a guy like Halliburton who's
overrated.
Overrated. His dad causes a bunch of trouble.
Right.
He's disliked by certain fan bases. Got was the villain basically of the Cavs after that game 2 miracle that he pulled off. I just thought it was brilliant.
He hasn't put a foot forward wrong this entire postseason. It's been great.
Yeah.
You talking about Carlisle or Halliburton? Yeah. Carlisle's been brilliant. I was frustrated how we were not able to attack the zone in that game 3, and I understand that they have a little bit longer arms and they were doing the defensive player of the year at the point of attack on that zone, but we knew how to deal with that, and I was just surprised how confused it made us. But the next game we came back and had an answer for it immediately, and it was over. They just couldn't run it anymore. We took them right out of it. So, the adjustments there are amazing. He also said, you've got to get rebounds, and we rebounded fantastically in game 4.
Yeah. That one, I think, is going to be the key to this Knicks series. So the Knicks, what was the stat I read earlier? They rebound. Their offensive rebounding rate is 31% or something like that. They rebound 31% of their own misses.
Okay.
So that's not good because we give up a lot of those.
Yeah, we do.
And it's guys, it's Josh Hart, it's Brunson working his tail off, it's Cat is good at scoping out the boards.
Yeah,
they just crash hard.
Well, and Mitchell Robinson's a hell of a big dude.
That guy's a problem.
Yeah.
And
which we didn't have to really face him in the last series. So
he was
really
injured, right? Or did he play a game or two? I can't remember.
Maybe he played game 1 or something.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge for the series. If we can't control them on the O glass, then we are going to lose.
That's right.
What's going to happen there? Because it's one of those things that they need. It's key to what they do. They don't have a ton of, they're not elite at much of anything else, right? They're
Right.
gritty, they're grindy, they board great, and they play, in your shirt defense. But if we can take away those second chance points and make sure that we turn them over, because it is a team that has a propensity to turn the ball over, we've got a good shot.
Yeah, and if we can play our pace, right?
Yeah,
I think the other thing that's awesome about this Pacers team is we clearly have an identity. We're gonna run it down your throats, and we're just gonna.
That's what we're gonna do.
Whatever you're gonna score, I don't care. Let's just go. And they've been much better, I think, this postseason of finding that identity in most of the games, and
establishing it early too.
Exactly, yeah. And whereas last year, they would go whole games where they're walking it up the court.
Yeah, you're like, who are these guys?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think Halliburton has learned a lot that just him, even if he's not on or scoring buckets, him just getting that pace going gets everybody going. And this team shares the ball so well. It's infectious amongst all these guys now that he doesn't have to have 10 assists in a game. We're still going to get close to 30 assists total as a team,
which is wild. I mean,
yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah,
that kind of passing tends to go down in the playoffs, right? Because everybody tightens up, and there's a lot more one-on-one, and not on our team.
Yeah, no, done a great job spreading the floor, and in all those games that we get 30 assists, we'll probably get dubs too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was the last series where we had 6 different leading scorers, or 5 different leading scorers for all 5 wins.
Well, yeah, and in one of those games, 2 people had the same. Were the leading.
So
scorers.
we did have 6 different.
We had 6 different people, yeah, that were leading scorers in 5 games. Yeah,
that's
which is
incredible.
impressive.
Yeah, not every team has that.
No.
Well, as Kevin Garnett would say, they've got 8 or 9 dogs.
Really? Would he say that?
Yeah.
How many times would he say
He would
that?
say that a lot of times. And also, was it Paul Pierce that referred to T.J. McConnell as Home Alone?
Home Alone,
which I think
yeah.
is really funny.
Yeah.
But
You say we got 8 or 9 Josh Harts.
yeah, 8 or 9 Josh Harts. Last year, McConnell would come off and change the energy and the effort, but this year everybody plays like T.J. McConnell. I love that. It's not wrong. Outside of that, that game 3 where Cleveland just
Laid an egg.
yeah. Well, I guess there were other games too where Cleveland was it game 2 where they came out and it looked like they were going to just.
Game
destroy
2
us.
we stole that game from
Right, because they controlled it the whole game, and it was one of those things where, and I really do believe this. I think we're the best conditioned team in the league, and we've made all these miraculous comebacks in the playoffs. But a lot of it has to do with everybody else on the other side is tired, and we still have legs at the end of these games.
Well, and I think the other thing I forget when I was saying this on the car ride down or last night, but you can see when this team when it clicks in their head that they're like, oh wait, we're way better than this team. We can beat them. All we have to just do is do what we do, and there's no way they can keep up with us. And that happened in Game 5. I thought of that Cleveland series.
I typed on the Slack, "We smell blood."
Yeah.
You could see it turning.
Yes, early third quarter, it was just okay, no, yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Got to put this thing to bed.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously concerned about Brunson. Got to keep that dude under control. I mean, he ate Nimhard's lunch last year, so I'm sure that Nimhard watched a lot of tape in the last week.
Sure he
With
did.
those pump fakes and just trying to be smart, not going for the pump fakes. If he's going to make a difficult shot, make him make a difficult shot.
Yeah.
Don't give him the bonus, putting him on the line.
Don't get on his back. He'll jump into you.
That's right. Cat kind of worked us in the few times that we played them in the regular season, but we haven't played them since before January, I think. I don't think we played them in the part of our season where we were kicking everybody's ass. So, yeah.
We're going to dislike
I'm
all these guys.
Worried
right?
about how optimistic I am, actually.
You're feeling real good, huh?
I feel like we have a chance. I feel like we can hang. If we play our brand of basketball, we can hang with anybody, I think.
My entire fandom, we've almost always been the underdog. and so I'm just used to that.
Well, don't worry.
Well, and the couple times that we had like the number 1 seed or a number 2 seed, you go up against a Miami, or you go up against a New York team without Patrick Ewing, and they just run all over you, and you know what's going on. So like the times that we have, when I've felt confident going into a series, it's usually falling apart. So I'm a little nervous about being confident. So I'm still picking the Knicks in 5. I just can't. I don't have the heart to believe.
Is that what you picked last series?
I did. I picked the Cavs in 5 last series.
Okay, so this is acceptable to me. It's a repeat of a proven pattern.
Of a thing that worked.
Yep.
Yeah. I worry about what referees get assigned to which games. I feel like this series is going to go 7, and in a game 7 in the Garden, we did it last year. We beat them in the Garden last year in a game 7, but
we didn't let the refs even have a chance in that one. We played like damn near perfect basketball in that game 7 and blew them out. So there was no chance to have a call go a different way. The refs couldn't get involved in game 4 against the Cavs, right? Like it was just we were taking control of that game. So I feel like if we go to game 7, we could still do that. But you're right; it's tough to win in the Garden.
Yeah, so I'm taking Knicks in 7. That's my prediction.
And what did you and Joey predict last show?
We also repeated. We doubled down on our previous. I believe I had Pacers in 7, and Joey had Pacers in 6. I'll have to check.
I think that sounds right.
I'll have to check the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Well,
we both picked Indiana. Anyway.
Okay. That feels good. I do like what you said, Jason. Like if we're playing our game, there's not really anybody that can beat us, but people can take us out of our game.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for sure.
And we're a good defensive team, but we're not an elite defensive team. And New York is. They're not a very elite offensive team, but they've got Brunson, who can get to the line and get buckets.
But can he get 120, or can we?
It's the first to 120.
If it is a series of first to 120, we're going to win the series.
Yeah.
Just like we won the last one.
Now, what we seem to have done in the previous 2 series is we kind of let Giannis do what he wanted to do, and he averaged like 36 a game. And then in series 2, we kind of let Donovan Mitchell do what he wanted to do, and he averaged 40 a game. Do we let Brunson do what he wants to do and average 45 a game? At what point does this
does it backfire?
Does it backfire? Like if you take away everybody else, 45 is still a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of credence though to the philosophy of let that guy do whatever,
tire himself out too.
Yeah, exactly. If Brunson's scoring 45 and has 4 assists or something like that, that's probably overall good for us.
And we noticed, at least in the previous series, that like by the time the game's on the line near the end, like Mitchell was just gassed.
Yeah.
So like if you can do sort of the same thing for Brunson.
Yeah. Well, I mean Brunson was exhausted at times in his own series.
Yeah.
So he's asked to do an awful lot out there.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and I mean we'll throw Nembhard at him, we'll throw Neesmith at him.
Yeah.
Can I get some Matherin on him?
We have Matherin this year, which we didn't have last year.
Right.
We'll throw some Matherin on him.
I really want
to get under his skin, and
we'll throw some Ben Shepherd at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what Matherin can do in that matchup after his play in the previous series and getting that ill-advised flagrant.
Yeah.
Imagine him up against a true superstar in this league who can score at will. And if he can stand up to that sort of pressure, even if he's not the biggest trash talker in the world, Jalen Brunson's not necessarily that.
That doesn't seem like it.
But, his game sure is loud.
Well, I remember we talked last year during the, I think it was the series against the Knicks, that there were times when the offense would get stagnant in the half court, and the Knicks are a very good defensive team. I don't know where they are rankings-wise, but as a Thibodeau team, at least in the playoffs, they get on you. And it helps to have somebody that can break a defense down and get a shot on their own. And, we were missing Matherin last year, and he's one of the few guys on our team that can do that on his own and get a good shot. Mm-hmm. I feel like Nembhard's improved in that area as well. There were a few times in that Cleveland game, like in the first quarter of Game 5, he was the only guy that was like getting buckets. Yeah. And Halliburton obviously
he draws a lot of attention, but he's better.
Yeah, and he's getting more aggressive. I think he recognizes when he needs to like get in there and get a hoop. So yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, Matthew needs to get serious.
Yeah.
I mean, I would really like to see Pascal come back to form too. I feel like he kind of had a quiet Cavs series. I know he led scoring in one of the games.
Yeah, but man, he's just solid as a rock. Just like there were like 5 or 6 times in that series when we were at a position where we just needed a bucket, and we went to Pascal and he went and got us a bucket. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
true.
And just the confidence I think that he instills in all of his other guys. Yeah, it's just he's a great leader.
He is. Yeah. Well, I just think of him as a safety blanket in the sense that when you need that shot, it's not. But like, it's also great if he could just like score an extra 15 points down there, so I don't have to.
He's gonna
be
have.
As worried.
He's gonna have his game in this series. We didn't. I mean, we beat the Cavs in 5.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't need a Siakam.
We didn't need a big Siakam game.
That's right.
And a little extra in his gas tank for what may be a long Knicks series is good to have, because he was looking a little frayed towards the end of the year. So a few extra days of rest probably helps him more than anybody.
For sure.
As resilient a player as he is, a little extra rest for the not 22-year-old on our team is probably welcome.
Absolutely, yeah.
TJ McConnell as well had several huge plays. Was really important during that last series, but I didn't think it was his best series. He looked a little more chaotic, a little more loosey-goosey with the ball than normally.
That's a really good defensive team.
Yeah. So it could be that. I mean, we won in 5 without them playing perfect basketball, Mm-hmm. But I feel like everybody else is just playing damn near perfect, and maybe I'm just asking too much to have them all do it. I mean, Obi Toppin is just can't miss.
No, he's been incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, Thomas Bryant is hitting clutch threes and
stepping up big time.
It's wild. It's wild stuff. Before we get out of here, we want to make quick predictions. We know the Western Conference Finals now will be the OKC Thunder hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 1 is tonight. We'll watch it on a boat.
On a boat.
You guys picking your T-Wolves?
So, just to be clear, OKC is heavily favored in this series.
Yeah.
Really?
Heavily. Like, the money line on Game 1 is like negative 340 or something. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Even though they're coming off a 1-day rest and Minnesota's been sitting around twiddling their thumbs for a week?
Don't look at me, man.
Okay.
Yes, I am picking my Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is playing excellent. They are a brutally good defensive team. Not that OKC's not, but they are in that top 3 echelon as well. Don't sleep on those guys. And just honestly, have been playing a little bit better basketball so far this playoffs. I think that the as deep as the OKC team is, I think that their youth has shown a little bit at times. And I'm hoping that the veteran leadership on the Timberwolves will carry them to the championships.
Which would be wild, just to think about Minnesota there.
Minnesota v. Indiana? I'll take Minnie in 6.
I really like the idea of SGA versus Anthony, and
it's going to be fun.
And I don't know that they'll be guarding each other one-on-one and straight up and stuff like that, but just like to see who comes out of this as the young face of the league on some level, right? Like, because they're both right there, and one of them is going to be, repping the NBA in the finals.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a fun little side of this.
Yeah, it's a change of the guard in the West.
Is, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm
it's on from Steph and LeBron. It's on to Ant and SGA.
Right. And I'm rooting for Minnesota, as I spent the many years in Minnesota rooting for KG and Sam Mitch and
Smitch.
Yeah.
Little Brandon Roy.
Terrell Brandon.
TV.
TV.
Little Wally Zerbiak. I know he's your fave.
He's my favorite, you know. So just for some context here, during the season, Oklahoma City was the best, had the best defensive rating. Minnesota was 6.
No, surprising that.
New York was 13 and we were 14.
Okay.
Now,
And that was all in the second half of the season.
yes, because we
For
were
us.
terrible. Exactly.
We were 26th.
No, I think we were definitely in the top 10 for the second half of the season.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then in the playoffs, the OKC is number 1, Minnesota's number 2, New York is 5, and Pacers are 8 out of the 16 teams from the playoffs.
Yeah, we were really going in different directions than the Knicks. We had that incredible burst in the second half of the season. The Knicks went like 13 and 15 or 15 and 13 after, but it's just like not a very impressive record at all. But they have cleaned it up for
They
the
seem
playoffs.
to have found it. Yeah.
Look healthy at the right time. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you mentioned the youth of OKC, and I don't know if you guys caught Game 7 of that Denver series, but it sort of encapsulated what I think about this team. So they came out tight, super tight, very nervous. Looked like a young team in their first Game 7. But then something switched, and they figured it out, and they realized that they had way more athletes and way better defense than the Nuggets, and they just started amping up the pressure, and then they just like put on this thunder lanch or whatever you call it, like to close the second quarter and then open. And that third quarter that they played was just like akin to what the Pacers did against the Cavs. Like it was almost a perfect quarter, and that thing was just over. So I think that they will have similar struggles in this series. I think they're going to drop some games, but I like them overall. I think 6 to 8 win teams that doesn't happen by mistake.
Nope.
no.
So I'm going to take them, but I think it's going to take them all 7.
Okay.
And I think that Game 7 is a rock fight. But
boy, I hope you're wrong, because if they win this year with how young that team is,
yeah,
this is going to be a dynasty.
yeah,
I mean, almost without question. And we haven't seen it. This is, 7 years in a row, or the 8th year without a repeat champion?
Right. We're going to have
Not since
another
the
year,
Warriors.
right.
which is wild.
Yeah.
We were talking about just more parity in the league. But yeah, you talk about that young a team
With
winning
that
one.
great of a coach.
Well, you could say the same thing about the Pacers, though. I mean, we are so young. If we win a title this year,
Not as young as they are.
put the league on notice. That's true. Not as young as they
Have they announced the MVP yet?
No.
They haven't. Okay.
are, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. I figured they were maybe waiting until the Nuggets Thunder series was over, because they
I
didn't
should've
want to
done
like
it.
they
You
didn't
want
want
that
to like
during
throw
the
it off
series.
in the middle of it, you know.
I
Go
love it.
for it.
Yeah, do it right before Game 7.
Yeah.
100%. So into it.
That would have been great. But okay, so we'll keep an eye out for that.
Or or the idea of whoever won that series wins the MVP. So now we just
Yeah,
have to-
it's just...
Exactly. All right,
It
so
was close.
you have T-Wolves in 6.
I got 7. No, I got 6.
You
Sorry.
said 6. Okay, I got OKC in 7. Did you make a pick?
I said I wanted the Wolves, so I'm gonna have to go. You
took
took
your number.
6, yeah. No, I'll go T-Wolves in 5. Screw it. Let's just
Screw
do
it.
Let's just do it. Julius Randle is playing the best basketball of his career right now.
Contract here.
Yeah.
Weird.
How did he get such a big contract last time?
It's so funny to hear all these talking heads, and they're like, "Where did this come from?" Julius Randle.
The same thing happened
here,
4 years ago. He was playing the best basketball of his life 4 years ago.
Need a graph?
Interesting.
What's going on?
All right. Well, we got more boating to do, so we're gonna head out. We'll try to do another one. This is. I was trying to think. This is Undebeatacon because we have a quorum, so it's Undebeatacon 14.7
7.
A.
14.7
Because there will be a B because Joey's coming out.
Yeah,
That's
Joey will be
correct.
here
There will be
for
there will be
the
a
pod
sub-B.
after Game 1. We will have another boat pod, and we'll have our host with us at that
Yeah, it
point.
might be a little rambunctious.
We may have the whole crew with us for
Who
that
knows?
one.
Yeah.
We apologize in advance.
Yes. So until then, thank you for listening. You can find us on Twitter. We're at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. You can email us, shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. We have a website, TheUndebeatables.com, with a contact form if you want to be like anonymous. You know, you don't want to put your name behind.
You
what
want to hurt our feelings
Yeah, exactly.
with a name behind it.
And then while you're there, get yourself a Schmedium t-shirt.
So, you went with Thunder Lanch and I think that was what the announcers said.
Is that what they said?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we were listening to it on the drive down, and Thunderstorm is right there.
Ah.
Why are we doing Thunderlands?
Yeah, no, good point.
Okay.
Because Cavalanche works so well, and then
Sure.
people want to just
And
do the same thing.
When the Avs play, Avalanche works pretty well in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit on the nose.
Pacer
Yeah.
Lance.
It's an Avalanche Lanche.
It's an avalanche launch.
For the architect, Dottie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Slick-Leonard. Turn out the lights. I'm on a boat.
On a boat! On a boat!
I think the Pacers lance is something different.
Pacers Lance.
Stevenson.
Set the record. Five triple doubles in a season. All right. Good work, gentlemen.